Hello, welcome to Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume. And today I have my sissy on. What's up, Mia?
Sissy. Oh man, full circle.
I know. It's strange even calling you Mia because we call each other sissy all the time. Like
the podcast, when you're on my podcast, I'm like, it's just Sissy.
Exactly.
Or as
Full
Charlie
circle.
calls you, honey.
Honey! I love honey. I love you so much.
He loves you. I'm going to post that link too of your anniversary of 3 years ago that you started the Kindness Summit.
Thank you so much. And I did not realize that until you mentioned that today. And you were on the very first one.
Goes around, comes around in a good way.
I know.
Right?
3 years.
I know. And I love it. I think it's, and this is before we knew we'd really need it.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you like how we're matchy, by the way? You got your book and then you got your. Mm-hmm.
There it is. I do. I love it. I usually read people's bios, but I love that you sent me. I'm a mouthy activist. And I said, okay.
Yes. That's it. That's it. That's a new title that's going everywhere. And it just kind of precedes my feistiness. So it's like, you were warned. Y'all were warned. I said what I said.
I said what I said.
So my favorite.
What does being an activist mean to you?
Let me take a drink out of my giant mug with Baby Yoda all over it.
Oh,
the Mandalorian.
Yoda. Love
you gotta love him. It used to mean, I have to say, it used to mean something differently than this past year, and certainly this past 6 months when we're on this precipice of awareness and change. Yeah. Hopefully change, but certainly awareness for a lot of folks. I thought I was pretty plugged in until this year. Now it's been like the matrix of like, oh, there's layers and layers of it. And so that's been the mouthy activist is one, letting people know that it's going to be unfiltered, but educated information. So it's not just me kind of popping off, but being mouthy. And I think as I don't want to use the word ally, but being an active accomplice, I think is the phrase now. That's me using the information that I have to affect change and to inform the people that are in my sphere. So that's me as a mouthy activist.
I love that. And I think, I can't think of her last name, but her first name is Lovey.
Oh, yes. What is her name? Luvvie?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, she did a interview a couple of years ago, and she was like, we don't need allies. I need an accomplice. I need somebody who is going to be in it with me, down and dirty, right next to me. The time for allies are over. Are you riding with me or not?
Yeah, that was back then when things were different. Now it's very active and it's crucial, and it's not it's no joke. It's no joke right now. Yeah. We've hit like a DEFCON 5 level, I feel like, of things that are going on. So yes, I agree. And I love that we can all grow with that. So yes, ally was the word. And, I've talked about this in my podcast before too, which is somewhat uncomfortable to admit, but I used to think that saying things like, I don't see color, I thought that was a good thing. And that's what my heart meant. But now if I'm going to be an accomplice, I need to learn that. Honey just sneezed, by the way. Bless you, says everybody on this live stream, Charlie. It just kind of emanates up all the sounds. But if you want to be an accomplice, you have to be willing to change and go through the painful work at times to say, I need to get with the times. I need to be more aware of what other experiences are. And that's probably the biggest work that we need done right now.
Yeah, I agree. How has it changed you over the past few years? Have you gotten into trouble?
All the time. I do, but what I've also had to learn in some ways, I had to learn the nuances of what white savior looks like and
Mm,
what, and I literally, I really didn't realize the magnitude of it until the Central Park bird watching incident this year that
yeah.
literally was like the day before, or it was like one day between what happened with George Floyd, the
Mhm.
murder. And that's when I was like, ooh, some of these white women are not helpful at all. And that was a reality. And these are what I'm talking about, these layers of realization of it's not just, what a lot of people thought was, well, we had civil rights, you had the right to vote, slavery ended, and that was it. Like it's this
Right.
monolith kind of thing, and as opposed to those layers. And my podcast just came out with my friend Dr. Copeland today on We Don't Talk About. And
Yes.
we talk a lot about systemic racism and his experience as a Black man in Illinois and us growing up, and then a Black man in South Carolina raising 2 young kids. So
Yeah.
there's
Wow.
a lot of nuances, but yeah, that's my learning experience has just been more of awareness,
Mhm.
definitely awareness of. And I even was thinking about this the other day of watching, everything's being filmed now. And you know me, what did you say about me the other day? What does Sissy do? What do I bring?
You bring a bazooka to a knife fight.
Not even a gun. Oh, bazooka. And I went, that's pretty accurate. and that phrase makes me think also that is where I do have to temper myself. Let's say, for instance, I'm keeping my phone charged all the time when I do go out, which isn't that often, but when I do, I keep my phone charged. I keep my awareness about me, because let's say I see someone that's been pulled over, and I live in Aurora, so see, what's happened here. We have Elijah McClain. We have the women that were pulled over wrong. It wasn't even a car. They were pulled over for a stolen motorcycle. They were in a car, a Black woman with her family, and they were made to lay. Sorry, not to traumatize, but there was a hot day and they had them on the ground. And so this happens in my town. And so that's where I do want to be an active accomplice. But I've learned also that I can't come rolling in there with my bazooka, because even with that's white privilege, because that could cause detriment to whoever it is I'm trying to help. So those are the nuances I'm trying to learn and get used to. And Sissy, I'm not good at not popping my mouth off. I said what I said.
I said what I said. I meant what I said. What I said.
Yeah. And I do. And I love this about our friendship too, that we are able to have these conversations where you can express the kindness piece as well. And that tempers me and helps me to realize, and this book too, y'all, if you haven't gotten this book yet, Sissy's featured in it. And your chapter is the college box, which I love.
The college box. Yeah.
But talk about all the different, all these stories in here. First of all, had me in tears, like I said, and had the Kleenex out, but all these different iterations of how to show love, and how it can be flawed, how it can be in different ways. And kindness is the same way too.
And it shows up differently for everyone. So there's no single definition of love and like, this is how it should be. Like it shows up differently for everyone.
Sure. And I love that about your message with your consistency of doing the videos. And can we talk about what we were talking about before, that you had someone that was...
yeah, we sure can. So as y'all know, I do videos every morning where I just, give my little thoughts about how we can stand in the gap. Speaking of, can y'all see my shirt?
I know. I can't wait for mine to show up. I know it's on its way.
Yours is coming. So we need to stand in the gap for humanity, because we belong to each other, not sugarcoating what's happening in the world, because it's happening and I'm aware that it's happening.
Yes.
But on day 300 of this year, I said the next 66 days are going to be the best 66 days of 2020. And some guy came rolling in. I
just say he needs to be glad I haven't seen it.
I might just delete it before you get over there.
You might could watch it, because speaking of the bazooka, I'd be like, dude, what did you just say to my friend? So, but yes,
basically called me delusional for saying that the next 66 days were going to be the best. 2020 has been a year, right? So of course, I'm thinking, I'm projecting, I'm manifesting better days. And he was like, you're delusional. All this is happening. And what's wrong with you? In a nutshell is what he said.
He's confusing delusion with optimism, right? Or optimism with delusion. And okay, let me first of all say that what's been helpful for me when you do those live streams is I'm like, what day is it? And I just have to go to Sissy's like, oh, it's day 300. Oh, okay, gotcha. Because what day is it is pretty much COVID in a nutshell, right?
Right.
And I love that clarification that I know that you've made, which this isn't delusion. This isn't pie in the sky. This isn't seeing what it is. It's in spite of what's going on. You choose love. And you say that every day. You choose it. You choose kindness. So it's not saying this isn't happening, but you are saying you can control that. So on a spiritual level, on a religious level, on whatever you want, I think it's very practical. So shut up, Mr. Man.
No, it hurt my feelings. Like I was sad, and I was like, wow. Because I was thinking, why would you say that? You know, why? What was the point of the post and that of the comment? And then it makes me realize that people just comment stuff without any background, without any research or whatever. They're just like, well, here.
Triggered.
You know what I mean?
Triggered.
So, right. Like, have you listened to anything I've said? No, you just saw this one thing. Yeah.
Right. Hold on. I need. Sorry, I had to yell it. He's just like, he doesn't realize when I'm like, oh, Mom, was Sissy? And it comes up. It's so cute. But I think that's interesting too, that like, first of all, I think as empaths and as light workers and people that are doing this, the one thing I've had to do recently is not feel badly about admitting that something hurt my feelings. I've spent my entire life being called sensitive, and that's a gaslighting thing, by the way, because that's when people want to do what they want to do and then put it back on you when your feelings are hurt. And I think a form of power is to say, this hurt my feelings. This is, this, and right. And as empaths, I know you've probably experienced it your entire life. Oh, we cannot see them. Where my love? Oh, please.
There's our buddy, Tara. What's up?
I'm going to wear these until election. Seriously. I can't see the haters. But I think that's a form of power to say that, that hurt my feelings and put it back on someone and not feel guilty about things hurting your feelings, because it's a gauge. It's a way of saying, that's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with that. And I used to, I used to be super sarcastic back in the day. And that's
I love this about you. Whenever I hear you tell that, it's like, I just wish you had it on video. Like, where's sarcastic Sissy? Because I bet it was a hoot. So I always hear that. I'm like, I wish she would do that. And I know it's still there.
It's still in there. It's I know tamed, it is. She talks to me sometimes. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
It's tempered. Yeah, it's tempered. I love that.
I have a friend, Tracy. She was my supervisor when I was working at a public relations firm, and talking about like my sarcasm was on 100 back then. And from time to time, she'll say, "I missed that part of you."
We use sarcasm goals.
Right.
Goals.
Yeah, it was an art form. It was an art form.
It truly is, because it is not the. It's not the lowest form of wit. It's really high up there, because you gotta have a whole education series. Yet tools for your toolbox, and that was so good for me. That I love kind of being sandwiched in between you and Tara on that, because I know she has the same message and goal, obviously, with this book and then these glasses too. So for us to come from a place of power with these messages, and I do feel like I literally am sandwiched between, like I said, the two of you, of tempering me out of, I know you both have, you're feisty and you're fiery, but this is the way that you choose to get your message out. And that's one reason why I did put Mouthy Activist on, so that I could be comfortable with, that's my message. It's not the same as yours. The presentation isn't the same. But I don't need to feel like a naughty girl or a bad girl because I'm going to use swear words and put the hammer down when I need to.
Yeah, and it's okay, and that's why we need you.
And I want to be an advocate, yes, because that may not be your message, but you can always give me a buzz and be like, because I'll message you and I'll message a lot of friends like, could you tag me in? Please tag me in. I remember that. Please tag me in. I remember that with Malit. I always say her name wrong, and I just love her. Malit here in Denver, which is when you came to visit, and we went to her coffee shop after that terrible incident with the tagging and the graffiti, the hate crime. It was a hate crime. Let's not even sugarcoat it.
It was exactly what that was.
Oof, I know when people say like, oh, bullying or this, I'm like, no, let's call that what it is, which also needs to be always needed. Oh, I am a love rebel.
Yes, you are.
I am a love rebel. We all are. But I remember Malit doing a post, and it was the anniversary of her coffee shop, and she said, I'm so sorry I can't be here, I'm going to go home, because her baby was sick, and it was right when we started really learning about the kids in the cages, and she did a post of like, hey, I have the privilege to be able to go home and care for my baby, and it was so heartfelt. I mean, it got me right in the feels. And danged if some helpful WW comes rolling in and is just, well, I don't see racism, and I don't see police. And I said, oh, and it just happened to be like 2:00 in the morning when I happened to see these comments. And I just woke up and was like, get in here. And Charlie's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'll take care of some business. So I made a few comments, and then I'm going in, and then I did check in with her to say, I don't want to be a white savior and make things worse for you, because she was being respectful. It was about her business. And then I just said, you good? And she said, I'm good. And I was like, now I'm really going in. And she didn't get it. The person didn't get it, and did kind of want to have a side dialogue. And I could tell that she was just but what abouting. I didn't know that phrase, but what abouting then, but I know that's like a what they call fogging, when it's like, let me just keep saying the same thing and acting like I don't get it. And being able to recognize that now is such a place of power as well. That's the difference between being nice and kind that this person on your post didn't get. There's nice, and then there's kindness, and there's definitely a difference, and knowing the difference saves your energy a lot.
It does. So and the way people approach you or come at you, it's all in the delivery of the message. And I always tend to try to look for the good, and I'm sure this guy was saying, all of this is happening in the world, how can you be so optimistic?
He was projecting his pain and fear, Sissy. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I can't fault him for how he's feeling, but I can fault him for the way he came. Right. Exactly.
That's right. Not an MP, not my problem, not my job to fix you. And that is a really tough thing that empaths have had to learn, again, and light workers of, oh my God. I mean, it just literally is like hearing a baby cry sometimes when we see people in pain, and when we see that. But then if we're not, that old adage about putting your oxygen mask on, if we're just over here helping everybody, we're just going to sink. Well, we will sink with that too, and not be, and not live our purpose.
Exactly. How do you protect your peace as an empath?
Where's the wine bottle? Where's the wine? I said in January of 2017, I said, it's going to be a very delicate balance between staying informed and heavily medicated, because you want to be aware, you want to be out there. A lot of it is prayer and meditation. I know that is. And now I'm learning a lot about, especially right now, while I can, D3, getting outside, walking in the grass, getting connected. I'm getting super woo on you, sis. But I love this app called Star Tracker. So now I've been like when I go out at night, you can see where all the constellations are. And so I'm really, really connecting to how important the connection is, especially for women with the moon. Sissy, how much do we love the moon? How much does the moon swoon I got from you, and I absolutely love it. Which tomorrow's the full moon. It's tomorrow morning. So put your water out tonight, sissy.
Thank you. I will. I've been collecting glass jars. So
yeah.
I'm excited.
It is, and I know for people who come from religious backgrounds like we did, it took me a long time to modify and to get that balance, because unfortunately the Word of God and Jesus was used not for good for me as a child, and so it took me a really long time to be like, dang, Jesus. That's good. Dang it, Jesus! I'm trying to get right with you, and there's just all this confusion. And so when I was able to clip into the power, to the feminine energy and the power, and especially with the moon, I mean, we cycle as women. The world cycles. There's just so much between that. So I do use a lot of spirituality and prayer, meditation, and earthly signs just to woosa.
Yeah.
Woosa.
Woosah. It's so necessary. I was watching this movie. I can't think of the name of it. It'll come to me. But one of the scenes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet I might know
it. One of the scenes was there was this very religious lady. It was about Nazi Germany and a book club. So that's all I got for you right
now. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It's up with a G. Anyways, very religious lady was talking to another lady, and she had the Bible in her hands, and she was like basically, shaming her for wanting to tell this story about this book club and how the Nazis came in and all this stuff. And the lady said, this book right here, and she took the book from her, the Bible from her. She said, this book is filled with all kinds of love stories. This book is about love, and you choose to use it for shame and guilt and to, blame people. And I was like, yeah, that part.
Preach that word. And I will say,
filled with love.
I mean, gosh, Song of Solomon, come on. That's some of the best love poetry right there, folks. Get with it. Psalms and so many. Galatians. Like, you didn't think Sissy with her potty mouth knew all that. Now, did you? But I grew up with so many, with just hymns and parables and gospel phrases. But it really does. And I do truly think that, especially when people use the Word of God to subjugate people and to bully people, I always say, that's making baby Jesus cry with that BS. It truly makes him sad. And I love, I don't know if you have had a chance to read the Austin Channing Brown book, that I'm Still Here. I mean, that book and This Love Meets Life, those two books have just slayed me in, like, really got me in the heart feels. And one thing, because she grew up in a religious background, and she's had to get that balance between this book that has caused her so much pain as a Black woman and as a Black woman working in a church. And I love that flipping tables is coming back, because Jesus flipped tables on some BS. He's a stay.
One of my lifelong, literally, we've known each other all my life. She's a year older than me. Tisha, and I think you guys are friends on Facebook. Her name is Tisha Rowlett. And she'll say all the time, I'm feeling flipping tables like Jesus today. And I was like, okay, girl.
It's good.
Jesus flip tables too. That's her go-to quote. Don't forget Jesus flip tables too.
That's probably where I got it. And when I did share it a while ago, but what I made sure to share it was a Black Jesus, because folks, don't get twisted either. Like, I made sure when I shared it, I was like, let's get this right on this one too. So I did. It's interesting. Somebody did a post the other day. It was an empaths group. I know I brought the word empath up a lot, but and it said a message similar to what you say. Let's get back to kindness and let's get back to love. And what I commented was, but please remember, especially for us feelies, we cannot confuse anger with hatred. That has subjugated a lot of us in our lifetime of, especially women, of thinking that being angry was hatred or bad.
Right.
And,
Right.
I just said, if you're feeling it right now, dig through that shiz. And, but please don't get that confused, because it's such a crucial time right now. And there's just so much energy going on. So yeah, it's interesting. And I do want to tell you this about this full moon tomorrow. And it'll seem a little witchy, but bear with me. A lot of the people who do a lot of spirit work say that this is the thinnest veil between this world and the next. And so this is really a time right now, especially with this full moon tomorrow, to get plugged into your spirit guides, your archangels, those who have passed. That veil is super, super thin, which is really cool.
Very cool. And just to be, like you said, be connected with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with the moon swoon. Blue moon tomorrow.
The moon. I know. It looked full last night. And I was just staring at it because my window, it just sort of just shines through. I'm like, oh, look at that. So
oh, look who's here. Oh, hi, Peter John Hughes. Remember we met up with him, and then Peter's friend with my friend Linda Block. The world goes around with us. Thank you. I love that.
When we met him, he used that term bubble wrap in love. And I was like,
you and I were like, what? That's the best. We were like,
that is it right there. That needs to be on all kinds. You know what, Peter? We might put that on the t-shirt.
We do. And I would, I put the whole thing on. My gosh, right now, for sure. And then just keep it. And then, when we get bored, just pop our little bubbles and keep entertained.
Pop our little bubbles. I love it. I love it. You have a new podcast, which is awesome. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
That was fun.
Go ahead, say it. What's the name of it?
Can I say it? The full name?
Yes.
Shit we don't talk about. And it's so important too to talk about these things. That there's a lot of silence and that a lot of bad things are bred in silence. And so to be able to come out and talk about things, and I love that we, you and I have a million things we can talk about. What we talked about being childless matriarchs, and a lot of the pushback that we get, and even pushback that you've gotten with the family members that you've claimed for yourself. And I just, what I love about your message too, is that it's very prevalent. Those heartbeats that are in your life that you talk about is so part of your message. And we come to look for these messages with that grandbaby of yours, that grandbaby.
He is adorable. And I've been saving up pictures. So I'm going to do a little montage today. Good. So,
I look for his stuff. You post something, boom, I'm on it. Right away of liking it. But yes, the childless matriarchs thing, and you and I are both different versions of it, but that, to be able to claim that as well, so that we can try and break that stigma of you can only look or be or have this certain thing to make an impact. And I think that's also been part of the subjugation and the press down, the oppression of women from all different realms, is to say, okay, you can only meet this criteria when you have this, this, and this. Get out of here.
Agreed. I have a niece, one of my nieces, she's 27, LaShawn. She just posted maybe last week, a couple weeks ago, I don't remember, about the gist of it is that don't shame people for not wanting to have kids. Like, it's okay. It's not that, and I was like, yeah, that part. So, and the beautiful thing is that her and my mom had a conversation on her timeline, and my mom was like, but don't you, when you want to have kids? Oh, no.
She's moved on. She's moved on to her, I see. Because it used to be you.
No. But my mom, it did, I think she's gotten the message. But
she's consistent.
My mom asked her, she's very consistent. She asked her, she said, did you not want to be here? And LaShawn said, well, it wasn't my choice, but I'm here now. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't my choice to be born.
Yes.
But I'm here now. But the point of the post, and she kept saying, the point of the post is, if women don't want to have kids, then it's okay and they shouldn't be ashamed. They shouldn't be shamed for that. And I was like, you go, little 27-year-old.
Yes, that's right. We talked about that because we've got my age in the 50s, yours in the early 40s, hers in the 20s, and you see how this continues. And that's the stigma we're trying to break. And it has been, and we talked about this in the podcast too, of it's been an interesting journey for me to flip that as well, because I see how society pits us against those women who, against women who have kids. And coming into this almost like Native American mindset of like, it's not, you know, remember I was looking that up beforehand of how in the tribes, a lot of times the guys, they're doing their own thing. The women are coming together like that. The female lineage will raise that child. And now the male will be in his female lineage to help raise that child as well. I love that. And it takes all that stigma out, because guess what? That isolates those moms. If you're going to keep this up of like, okay, well, they don't have kids, so they don't count, but you have kids and it's all on you. Enough of that.
No, it takes a village. It takes a village for sure.
It does. That really did come from somewhere. That phrase that really means something, right?
Like, literally, it came from somewhere.
Yeah, those buzz phrases, they started somewhere. That's a thing, right?
Yeah. So why was it important for you to start your podcast?
I had thank you for asking me that. I had been sitting on it for 4 years.
Yeah.
And that started with my menopause journey. And I had, and it's funny because my friend that produces it, thank you, Helix, thank you, Drew Lancelota, he has his own podcast called The Anxious Truth, which is amazing. But the other day he said he went on Peter Shankman's website. Peter Shankman has is it The Fastest Truth? It's a podcast for people with ADD. And I had interviewed Peter 4 years ago, and that's where he was talking about having ADD. And I was like, I think I have it. Right? Because all these things he was talking about. Well, then I go to my doctor and she's like, nah, this is menopause. You're in menopause. These night sweats you're having, the brain fog, that's part of it. But that's really where it stopped. I wasn't getting a lot of information from her at all. And I came home and did a live stream back when it was Blab and was like, let's talk about this because it's so hidden, just like menstruation, just like all these things that make up half the population has these things. And we're not talking about
literally,
right? So that was the impetus, but it's so funny coming around because Drew was like, I got on there and I go, is that who I think it is? Because I was on Peter's podcast. So you see how it all just kind of comes around. So finally birthing this and having the message come out and talk about these things that do get hidden, that again, the silence piece really keeps us from shifting and changing. So it was just, I finally was like, I got to do this. So, but I was surprised at the struggle that I had. And I think it's because all of us do go through periods when we play small in one way or another. And I was feeling pretty tiny when I wanted to start that. I'm like, oh, should I put the swear word in there? Ooh, should I? Stop it. Stop it. What's the Bob Newhart? Remember the Bob Newhart skit? 2 words.
Just stop it. Stop it.
She's like, do I need to take notes? Do I need to write this down?
Stop it.
So my favorite.
Yeah, but what happens when? Stop it.
But what if no? That's what we need to say for the whatabouters. Stop it.
Right. No, stop it. Just stop it.
That link. So yes, it's been wonderful to from the timing wise piece of everybody's pivot of COVID and having to do something different. I mean, let's face it. What was I doing before this? Travel blogger. Nope.
Right.
My Google Maps is like, has she gone anywhere? Nope.
Right. Where is she? She hasn't posted anything, but she hasn't.
Here's my dot. Here's my Google Maps dot every day. Oh, she's still there.
She's still there.
So the pivot to making that happen and putting that podcast out, I couldn't not do it. And then I will say, the impetus of the race revolution, this new paradigm shift, really, now it's time.
Yeah,
It's
agreed.
time. Yeah.
Speaking of time, there's only a few hours left for early voting.
Girl, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And can I just say, so I've been making a lot of phone calls with the local phone bank here and really getting involved with local politicians. That's where the change happens, sis.
Yeah.
You know, figuring out who's local. And then it's so cool because there's some kids, and first of all, they're kids that are help running these phone banks. They're in their early 20s. And I mean, it just lights my soul up to see these young folks who are fired up on issues and who are fired up on making the calls. And we started making calls last night, and even the Dems were getting cranky. You know what I mean? Like, I voted, get off my back, you know?
Right.
And literally, one guy said, "Why do you keep calling me? I'm a Dem. I voted." And I thought, I get it. So please, folks, bear with us, because I don't want to feel like I did when I woke up the day after the election 4 years ago. And that's why the voting is so important. If you want change, you got to vote. And guess what else you have to do, sissy? Stay active after the election.
Stay active, yes. And do your part, because it's, like you just said, it's the local part. It's the community part. It's that level that really matters.
Yeah.
Because that's where you can really see the
Mm-hmm.
impact.
Yeah, you can. And boy, are we lucky. I'm sure you've seen it. Malit's husband, brother Jeff is here, and he does a show every day. And then he has local activists and politicians. And we are so fortunate in Colorado to have, and I think after 2018 is when the shift really happened. We have the youngest school board member, which is Tay Anderson. He's, I think, only 21 or 22. I think the youngest.
Oh, wow.
Youngest a black male school board member. I mean, he is shaking things up, and he's not always popular, but it's because he's shaking things up. We have more black and brown women that are coming into power in Colorado than I've ever seen, and so I can't put all that on them. I gotta step up too.
Yeah, and it's important to understand that, because I get a lot of people saying, "Well, my vote doesn't count." Why would I vote? Why would I go out there? And it's not even about who you vote for. It's just about voting, because you have the right to do this, right? Wow. People have fought and died and
Yes.
clawed and beaten and thrown in jail for you to be able to do this.
Yes.
So do it,
Yeah. And you can't fight voter suppression if you're going to give in. Voter suppression is a real deal. Please, people, start looking it up, start digging into that. That was part of my journey this year too, was realizing the voter suppression that has gone on, of course, Jim Crow, but the intimidation, the redlining, the poll tax, now closing of polls. It is no joke. And because the Supreme Court overturned the Voter Rights Act, I think in 2013 or 14, because they thought racism was dead, right? That's brought in the ability to, sorry, I get on my soapbox, to really suppress a lot of votes. And let me just show you this number real quick. This was on, so this is 374 in House District 38. David Ortiz is running in this House district. And this is what, that number of votes is what got the last candidate in. That was the difference in the number of votes. So if you don't think your vote counts, think again. Just sit in your power with that. So good point to bring that up, Stacey.
Yeah, I mean, it's important. It's important, and I'm so blessed and lucky for the young people in my life. They'll send me pictures of, vote it, and I'm like, yes,
yeah,
good job.
They do.
And it's just you just need to.
Yep. You just do it. Somebody wants to say hi. There's Auntie. Okay. There she is. Do the snort. Oh, there you go. She served it up for you. You want to be lumbar Frenchie? She's just coming up to be lumbar Frenchie. Hold, please.
Okay.
Here she goes. I didn't check the back of my head.
Sitting in my spot.
Here she is. Yep. Lumbar Frenchie right there. So yeah, good reminder, sis. And we have just a couple of days, I know, in Colorado, too late to drop off your ballot or to mail in your ballot. So it's either going to be drop it off at the ballot boxes. And then another thing I was telling people, look at the judges. Look at the judges on your ballot if you have them, because if you're not happy about what just happened, 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm not. You got to look at the judges and just start realizing the power of of what's happening in your own area. They make a lot of decisions that can affect you, especially if you're anything but a white male. Sorry,
Sorry. Yeah.
I ain't busting on you. I'm just saying it is what it is.
Yeah. It is what it is, and I said what I said. And I love that about you. And I do love the fact that even when you say stuff and you're not sure, you're like, hey, what you think about that? And it's the check-in point that I'm like, that's awesome. Because a lot of people
you're that
don't have.
Me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And you are, and not because, and this is what I say to people on this podcast too. Like, listen, white people, do your Google it first. Don't make people tired now with your BS and not being informed. But when I do come to you, it's more like, I've looked at this and searched my heart to see, what do you think about this? So thank you for being that for me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I love the conversations. And I think that's the beautiful thing, is that people just need to have conversations. Mm-hmm. And, we don't always agree on everything, but just having conversations is being open and listening to each other and hearing what people are saying. That's the key part to it.
Yeah. And the kindness is in your message, but I also know baked into that is the word grace.
Yes.
And grace is huge right now. But I think when you combine grace with spidey sense and intuition, you'll know when someone is just not doing the work, but wants to wear you out. And then you'll know somebody who's trying to do the work, maybe has a few of the things wrong, but has the right intention. And I do want to encourage people too. Somebody will say, like, we can agree to disagree. I can't agree to disagree if what you believe in is going to harm or damage me or someone I love, period, with the T at the end.
As my niece Gina says, period. You have to do the little. Okay, yeah. She's like, you gotta do this, period.
That's a hard stop right there. And I think that's perfect. And I think that's the piece that people are missing, that if they're not getting, they don't realize that that's an unspoken message of, no, I'm not here to make you feel better about a decision that you have decided you want to hang on to when it's detrimental or hateful, just wrapped in or costumed in ignorance. How do you like that?
Yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. Costumed in ignorance. I'm going to use that.
Made that up since you take it. Do it.
Yeah.
It really it is a hashtag. And it's really true. We just made that happen. That's a cross-stitched pillow moment, as I like to say.
I love it. Cece, I can talk to you all day. You light up my life, and I do. I adore you. I love you, and I love that you're not just about the talk. You are in action, and sometimes it comes in the form of a bazooka. But your intent is good.
when the smoke comes out, it goes, and it's real pretty. You may have a hole in the middle of you that you're like, what just happened? Which one of y'all kicked me? Right. But if you get it, you brought that on yourself. Just know about that. And thank you for sharing and letting me talk through that with you about the person posting for you, because I know you don't get that often. So when people do kind of step to it, just know, and it is triggered. It's that finger pointing with the fingers pointing back at yourself. So thank goodness for us doing the work. Right? We're going to keep doing the work.
Yep. It's tiring and exhausting at times, but it's necessary. So it's necessary and needed.
I will say, I'm going to put this out there. I am probably going to, I know I'm going to take off some notifications and just really wind down. And I've got this fun little new thing called the Healy. I'll have to fill you in on that. It's this bioenergy crazy thing that you can run remote sessions on people for pain and emotion. And so I've been using this a lot too, and running sessions on all my good folks of it's like a bubble wrap thing. And that's what I'm going to be doing the next couple of days, because because I can feel that the powers that be are looking for us to plug into the hatred and the anger. And so it's very potent right now.
Yeah, it is. It's out there, and I think that's why I've been so emotional for the last few days. I'm just like, there's so much
in the
like
feels.
it's a lot right now. Yeah.
Yes, I really was too on like Monday until yesterday morning or Wednesday morning. And there's a guy named Cryon, and he's kooky. He's Kukla and Ollie. I can tell you that right now. It's my mom calls him Crayon, but it's Kryon, and he's like a transmission guy. It's really nutty. But he was talking about how right now there is just a lot of dark energy out there looking for some folks to clip into. So, guard your hearts.
Yeah. Guard your heart, protect the peace. It's important. Thank you, Sissy. I love you so much.
Me too, Sissy. Thank you.
This is beautiful. I could talk to you forever. Guys, this has been Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume. And today we were talking with my sissy, Mia Voss, who is just a love rebel, a love nugget. She's love in action, is what she is.
I'm trying to put these on. Hold up.
And I love her heart, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, Sissy, and we will see you guys next week on another episode of Make Kind Loud, conversations that turn up the volume.